On an island in the middle of the Mediterranean stands a real relic from ancient times, the Palace of Knossos. It was discovered in 1900 by the archaeologist Sir Arthur Evans, who loved mythology and believed he had found the palace of King Minos. According to him, the underground tunnels of the palace could be the famous Labyrinth of the Minotaur. And believe it or not, several details seem to support this idea. First, the palace is located in Crete, the mythological home of Minos and his Minotaur. Archaeologists also found more than 1,200 rooms spread across multiple levels, curved hallways with no clear logic, and sliding doors that lead nowhere, as if the building was designed to confuse or contain something. Of course, no bones of any creature have ever been found, but even if the Minotaur is a myth, the labyrinth-like structure is weird. For someone who didn't know the place, walking inside this palace would feel like being lost in a maze. As for the origin of the Minotaur myth, it probably comes from the Minoan civilization who lived on the island long before. For them, the bull was a sacred symbol, celebrated in rituals and even in games, like this one, where people had to jump over a charging bull. But Knossos is not the only place like this. All around the world remain said that humanity will never open. Ancient temples that have never been explored, places we know exist, but whose doors will remain closed forever. It may sound crazy or absurd, but there are real reasons behind these mysteries. Reasons we are going to explore together. The mysteries beyond the Sphinx and Machu Picchu. Legend says that the ancient Egyptians built a mythical library containing all the knowledge of the world. Access to this place could be reached through a maze guarded by the terrifying Sphinx itself. Except that, apart from a strange statue of a cat with a human head, the Sphinx seems to just sit there decorating the desert. And yet, in 1926, during a sand removal operation, the French Egyptologist Émile Bourais discovered an opening under the Sphinx. He explored its long tunnels and galleries, but found nothing except dead hands. Disappointed, he closed the access. Of course, even today, this discovery still fuels all kinds of strange theories, especially those of Edgar Cayce, an American who claimed after spiritual trance that the Sphinx was not built by the ancient Egyptians, but by survivors of the Atlantis who hid all human knowledge inside a secret hall of records. Others say there are tunnels linking the pyramids to the Sphinx, or hidden underground chambers. And this is not totally impossible. There really are several openings on the Sphinx, one on its back legs, one on its head, and one on its back. And contrary to what people say, these are not secret. They're simply closed to the public to avoid damaging the monument, which is already fragile. It's also important to know that the Giza Plateau, where the Sphinx stands, is a real Swiss cheese filled with holes. There are galleries, pits, and tunnels everywhere, sometimes flooded with water or filled with sand. Plus, bone scans have revealed cavities under the Sphinx, but this seems to be natural. So, does that mean a secret hall of records could really exist? Is it possible to discover what the Sphinx is hiding? In reality, it's very hard to get accurate information. The internet and even some libraries are full of conspiracy studies that keep validating each other, making it difficult to separate fact from fiction. And what does not help is Zaya was a major figure in Egyptology. He made huge discoveries and even became Minister of Antiquities. Thanks to his influence, he can basically veto archaeological digs. He is known for blocking excavations because he wants to protect the sites, which, to be fair, have often been damaged by poorly done excavations in the past. So, the real question is, are we ready to risk damaging such a precious monument just to find a chamber that is probably empty? Probably never. We see a similar situation in Peru at another famous archaeological site, Machu Picchu. There, a French explorer became interested in a strange sealed cavity blocked by a wall of stones. He brought researchers and scanning equipment, and the result was clear. Behind the stones, there seems to be several rooms, possibly containing metal objects. The theory quickly spread. Could this be the real tomb of Emperor Pachacutec? So why not open it? Well, for the same reason as with the Sphinx. A very respected Peruvian historian strongly opposed the excavations, accusing Europeans of wanting to damage or steal treasure, as had happened before. The situation became political, and the Peruvian government accused the French explorer of being nothing more than a treasure hunter. And what makes things worse is that this explorer does not exactly use a scientific approach. He then accused the local historian of blocking access to take all the credit. In the end, the government completely shut down access to the site. The story was attracting too much attention to tourists and treasure hunters. Since then, nothing. And yet, it will only take removing a few stones to finally know what is hidden inside that cavity. But no, we'll probably never find out what lies beyond the secret doors of Machu Picchu. The Chamber of Secrets in. You probably know the Taj Mahal. Millions of tourists have taken photos in front of this huge white marble monument. But what many people don't know is that it is not a royal palace. It is a tomb. A tomb built by Emperor Shah Jahan for the woman he was madly in love with. Inside, there are two tombs, but they are only cenotaphs, decorative monuments. The real bodies of the king and his wife rest underground. These underground areas are said to contain several rooms and passages that are closed, sometimes even sealed with bricks. So, what is the Taj Mahal hiding, and why are these rooms still closed to the public? The official reason is that the monument is very fragile. The Taj Mahal is made of marble, a material that works strongly to humidity, carbon dioxide, and pollution. This reaction weakens the structure is already fragile. The second reason is religious. The Taj Mahal is mainly an Islamic monument. The king buried there was Muslim, but some rumors say that he loved his wife so much that he had her body preserved, which goes against Islamic traditions. According to these stories, she was buried with Hindu idols, and some people even talk about secret rooms decorated for the god Shiva. This creates serious political and religious problems. In 2022, an Indian court rejected a request from a Hindu politician who wanted to open the underground rooms to check if a Shiva temple was hidden there. Because of this, the mystery may last for a very long time. Religion has often stopped archaeologists from exploring certain places. For example, in Ethiopia, the Church of Saint Mary of Zion is believed to hold the Ark of the Covenant. The site is constantly guarded by two men who can kill a lion with just their hands, and only one man per generation, a priest, is allowed to enter the room. The same thing happens in Japan at the Ise Grand Shrine. This holy place is dedicated to the goddess Amaterasu and is said to protect the Yata no Kagami, a sacred mirror. What you see online is only a copy. Very few people have ever seen the real mirror. The Japanese emperor is also said to own the Kusanagi sword, one of the three sacred treasures of Japan. But let's go back to India, because there is another temple whose doors are still closed, the Padmanabhaswamy temple. This ancient temple dedicated to the god Vishnu was once under royal control, but in 2011 the Indian Supreme Court ordered an inventory of the temple underground chambers. Archaeologists were sent inside and discovered 6 secret rooms, A, B, C, G, E, and F. In 2014, 2 more rooms were found, J and H. What they discovered was incredible. Inside the open rooms, they found tons of gold, diamond bells, and huge precious stones, some as big as eggs or coconuts. The total value is estimated at hundreds of billions of dollars. These treasures are offering to Vishnu given over many centuries. All the rooms have been opened except one, Chamber B. It is sealed by a heavy iron door with no lock, decorated with cobra snakes, a symbol of curses in Hindu mythology. According to legend, only priests who know a special mantra can open it. Some believe the room may be trapped, but most people fear a curse. When scientists wanted to open the door, everyone was against it. The royal family, the citizens, and religious believers. They believed opening it would bring great disaster to a city. Stories of curses quickly spread. A lawyer who demanded the opening died in a strange way. Some people say they heard snakes sound beyond the door. It sounds mystical, but the real reason may also be political. Who really own the treasure? Some politicians say it belongs to the people and should be used to support the country. But the royal family and the religious leaders say that the treasure belongs to the gods and must stay in the temple. Keeping Chamber B closed also avoids discovering even greater treasure and the temptation to use them. A legal investigation later claimed that priests may have opened the door in the 90s to place new offering inside and nothing bad happened. Is this true or just an excuse to enter without displeasing believers? As always, politics and money prevent us from knowing the truth. The mausoleum of the immortal king. When people think about ancient tombs filled with deadly traps, they usually think of the pyramids of Egypt, mummies, or the curse of the pharaohs. But a place like this exists outside Egypt in China. We have probably seen photos of the Terracotta Army. It looks like a normal tourist seat, but just a few meters away, under a hill, there is a huge underground palace that no one has ever explored. Even the Chinese government forbid access. It may sound like a conspiracy, but the truth is even more surprising. This army of clay soldiers guarded the body of the first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang. He was the man who united China into one empire and began the construction of the Great Wall. He was known for being cruel, power-hungry, and obsessed with immortality. According to his story, he even executed more than 460 scholars who failed to find him a way to live forever. So he chose another path to immortality. He built a massive tomb palace it was an enormous project that required the work of about 700,000 people. When the emperor died, the palace was covered with tons of dirt and thousands of trees. Everything was buried underground, even the concubines, so that no other man could ever touch them. The workers who built the traps were also buried alive to keep the tomb secret. The plan worked. The site was discovered more than 2,000 years later. In 1970, farmers digging a well found strange statues underground. Over the next 40 years, archaeologists uncovered thousands of terracotta soldiers. The palace itself is still under the hill. We know this from ancient texts and modern radar scans. It is said to be enormous, about 125 yards high and covering nearly 38 square miles. Inside is a rich burial chamber filled with gold, treasure, a ceiling made to look like the stars, and statues representing each of the emperor's concubines. So, why has not the tomb been opened? There are several important reasons. The first is fear of a curse. There are inscriptions meant to curse grave robbers, and there are stories of people who died in strange ways after the statues were discovered. The second reason is traps. Ancient texts describe poisonous arrows and collapsing walls. Even after 2,000 years, some of these mechanisms could still work. The third reason is mercury. The emperor flooded part of the tomb with toxic mercury to represent China's two great rivers, the Ural River and the Yangtze. Soil tests have found high levels of mercury around the tomb. At the time, mercury was believed to give eternal life. Ironically, the emperor drank it every day and might be the reason why he died at just 49 years old. The final reasons were explained by archaeologists Christian Rome. Partly it's out of respect for ancestors, but more importantly, we simply do not yet have the right technology. When Tutankhamun's tomb was opened in the 30s, many details were lost forever. In China, where the terracotta statues were uncovered in the 70s, contact with air and light made their color disappear almost instantly. Yes, let's be honest, archaeology up to now has been a mistake. For a long time, scientists didn't know dinosaurs had feathers because we were breaking the stone around the fossilized bones. Today, archaeologists often choose not to enter certain sites. For example, in Pompeii, some burnt skulls were found. If they were opened, they would turn to dust immediately. That's what we have been doing until now, forcing them open and losing the test. Only recently with advanced scanning technology have we begun to read them without touching them. Opening this Chinese tomb will likely destroy priceless historical treasure, so the tomb remains sealed, guarded by thousands of terracotta soldiers. It may seem strange that all these doors have stayed closed for so long. It sounds crazy, and yet our own civilization also has doors that will stay closed forever. For example, this impressive structure that looked like it came straight out of a Star Trek movie, a nuclear waste storage site buried deep in the Yucca Mountains in Nevada. This place must remain sealed for at least 10,000 years. While we praise ruins that are 2,000 years old, this site is at least 5 times older in the future. And this time, there are no mercury rivers or ancient curse, only deadly radioactive waste. Yes, even today we are building places that may be discovered thousands of years from now. Take Mount Rushmore for example. Beyond the famous stone faces, there is a hidden room containing a titanium box sealed inside the rock. The artist beyond it wanted to leave a time capsule there filled with messages from his time. Maybe one day in 1,000 years someone will finally open it. And who knows, maybe ancient emperors also had the same idea, to leave a mark or history that will last forever. Or maybe they simply wanted to rest in peace, just like we do today for our parents and grandparents. All these stories share a simple message. There are still mysteries in our world. There are still secret places and closed doors. Not everything has been explored, and some doors are better left closed so they can continue to make us dream.